First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
I didn't think it was that hot over the weekend at all. What mic are you on, by the way? Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Not hot at all.
Andrew's back in studio. Angelo's working with us over the summer. Good morning, Angelo.
Good morning.
Hey, Bill.
And that's who you'll hear if you call.
Good to see your
You'll
bright,
hear his
smiling face.
voice if you call. Okay,
So did you think it was really hot?
I didn't think so. I didn't think it was really bad at all. Oh, my God, it was hot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was hot.
So I spent Saturday the whole
Saturday
day.
was hot. Sunday was really, really hot.
I completely agree. Saturday I spent literally the whole day outside.
Yeah.
Weed whacking, mowing, doing the trim around the yard, ton of stuff. Like I was literally outside for 5.5, 6 hours working on the yard. Sunday, and I felt it was a nice breeze. There was a little bit of cloud cover. It was 90.
A little
but
more breeze on Saturday than
Sunday.
Sunday.
I walked outside and I'm like,
Yeah,
it's 2 degrees cooler than it was
Yeah.
yesterday, and I'm dying.
I loved it though, and I did a lot of. I was out. I was doing most of my outdoor work on Sunday, believe it or not, earlier in the day, and it was hot.
I'm not complaining though. Not.
I don't ever remember sweating the way I was sweating yesterday.
You think it's age or climate
Could
change?
be age.
Climate change, yeah.
I believe it's climate change in the human body. That's what's going on here. And it's also the loss as you lose your hair. The sweat just pours off you. It doesn't wet your hair. There's no hair to wet. Mm-hmm. So it just pours into your eyes.
Mine just comes out of everything. Psh,
Yeah.
It just drips down the hair. I think sometimes having the hair also...
Andrew actually grows hair faster than he sweats.
it's a race between the beads and the blades.
It's incredible.
Oh, boy.
Okay, we have a lot to get to here on this Monday, June the... What are we up to now? The 7th. Can you believe it's already the 7th?
Oh, my gosh. Can we? It's already here.
And you know what is here is, and if I'm correct, it's the 4th of July fireworks tents are starting to go up, are they?
Oh, I haven't seen any yet.
I haven't either.
But it should
I
be
didn't
the
see any on
time.
Commercial Drive. I live off Commercial Drive. So
We are the time, aren't we in the zone?
I think we're in the zone.
There's a story up on our website. I didn't necessarily read it. Okay, so Friday, Howard Zucker came out and said masks will, as of Monday, will no longer be requiring masks. Schools and camps. Camps and schools can have their own restrictions. So now you have schools scrambling over the weekend to try to figure out what they're going to do. And this is vaccinated or unvaccinated. This, I don't understand. I think we are a more well-oiled machine in this studio than the state is right now in terms of trying to get the messaging straight. Because Zucker came out and the schools had no idea this was coming.
Right.
So you're getting, I understand there are parents that are sick of the virus is over, we're moving on. But there are also parents that are just the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That wearing the mask is still essential for them. And I think the same thing holds true with teachers and other staff members. So the school administrators have a lot to deal with on their hands to be able to put a policy in place. And, oh, by the way, there's only 3 weeks left of school. Why are you doing this right now?
Yeah, exactly. And, even more entertaining than the actual announcements or decisions that are made at the state level is the explanation for why they did it. Oh, well, he put out that letter to say that he was going to waive the mandates in hopes the CDC would tell us what to do.
No, he waived it, sent a letter to the CDC.
Well, that was his explanation now.
Right. Well,
we were just trying to get guidance from the CDC.
Yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, because schools are all scrambling, and I did a story on this. We had New Hartford was out, Clinton, Sequoia Valley sent messages out to parents and teachers and students. Saying that masks will still be required, even though the CDC or the New York State Health Department said that they're dropping the mandate. Well, then it gets even better. Cuomo's office makes a final statement on Sunday afternoon that said The mask order is still in place. Okay. Can you guys start talking to each other and
Who's
figuring
in
this
charge
out?
here?
I'd like to know.
It's a clown show.
What? It's a clown show.
And
you
for them
were
to
gonna
come
say,
out on a Friday, you're right, with 3 weeks left in school.
with no advance notice
no
to schools.
warning to any schools.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to do 180 degrees the other way. Get ready for it. Nothing.
Meanwhile-
and didn't he complain when CDC came out and said whatever they said initially?
He did.
Oh, we didn't have any advance warning. How are
He
we supposed
did.
to? He does this to government leaders and to school districts all the time. No warning.
In the story I wrote the second, so I just finished this first story. As it's Sunday afternoon.
Clarification afterward, yeah.
I had to write another story saying that the state had come out with new guidance. We'll talk to Keith Levatino, who is the superintendent of schools at Little Falls. And, what he said is they had, over the weekend, had to put in place, first of all, they had to communicate to everybody, students, teachers, parents, and they put a committee together that was going to, or I guess will still meet, because you have a feeling that they're going to drop the mask mandate at some point today or this week. And I don't understand why you're even causing this confusion with 3 weeks of school left. And I know there were parents like flipping out last night after the governor came back and said the mask mandate is still in place, but it's the last 3 weeks of school, and for high school, it's the final days of school.
Yeah, seniors in some cases are already done with classes.
Done. So what are you doing here?
And I mean, my confusion to the change of the policy is, there's students that are now eligible for the vaccine 12 and up, but anybody 12 and under that's a child, obviously they would be a child at that age, would still have, they're not even eligible for the vaccine, so they could still be carriers. Of all the people that should wear a mask, it's that age group.
There is an increase in that age group right now in terms of the of the virus spreading. And what ends up happening, it doesn't matter whether they're going to end up in the hospital or not. It means the minute there's a case, now you're right back into shutting down a classroom or shutting down A doesn't work well with B. It's just a giant mess, and I don't understand.
We're going to remove the mask mandate from the one place that masks probably should still be worn.
Well, whether they should be or they shouldn't be, why are you doing it with just a few days and a few weeks left?
And you don't give districts any time to prepare.
And I'll tell you something. My wife was pleased as can be to hear that they were lifting. These teachers and students have to wear masks all day long. It is not easy. There's no doubt about it. But a little bit of communication, like maybe letting the schools know on Monday you're going to do this. They begin to put their plans in place, and they make their decisions and their announcements and get everybody on board. But no, you got to do it over the weekend. It's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Just plain. It's almost like something bad was going to happen this weekend to Cuomo.
Yeah.
And Zucker gave him a bit of cover. Like, I'm going to throw this out there so nobody's going to pay attention to the fact that A, B, and C is happening to you.
So as it stands this morning, should children be going to school with masks?
Has to wear a mask.
And teachers included?
Teachers included and staff members.
Okay.
And in most schools, that was going to be the case anyway.
Yeah.
As they were all waiting on guidance from the state. That's guidance from the state, not a letter, not a press conference that Zucker announces and sends a letter off to the CDC. That was just the dumbest, weirdest thing. Like, we're gonna lift it unless the CDC comes back with telling us that's the wrong thing to do.
What
just sent the letter out today?
What time was that? Do you know? By the way,
it was Friday afternoon.
It was afternoon, because I'm just thinking to myself. Imagine you're a teacher, and I actually know a teacher too who's got his family's got a camp. And gets away for the weekend. You put your day in, your school day in. You hit the road for the weekend, right?
Yeah, you're gone.
On the way home Sunday, you're like, what do you mean we don't have to wear a mask?
No.
When did this happen?
What they would have heard on their way home was, we have to wear a mask. Well, duh. Of course we have to wear a mask. What are they talking about? What happened that I don't know about?
Well, for a brief 5 seconds, you were allowed to not.
Yeah. And then parents who are against the mask they're flipping out because now they were given a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And it was ripped away from them.
Back to the picket lines.
And you know what this was setting up for today? It was setting up the scenario where kids were coming to school without a mask saying, no, my mom told me I don't have to wear it. Now it was announced on Friday they don't have to wear it. Well, yeah, you do. We're saying you have to. Not according to the... So now you have a fight. Everybody's arguing. Everybody's fighting. Why go down this road?
Do you remember, it wasn't that long ago, but it does seem like a long time ago now. Cuomo was the gold standard for dealing with COVID.
Around the country.
He won an Emmy. Remember, he won an Emmy award.
Yeah. He is the ringleader of the COVID circus.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, it is, but it did take him, right, to come out yesterday afternoon. The executive office came out yesterday afternoon to let everybody know, despite what Zucker told you, this is what's happening. It blows my mind.
They didn't word it that way, did they?
Blows my mind.
Because he'll be the next one to go.
They worded it that, however it was worded, was just basically, the mask mandate is still in place.
Howie, here's how you're going to do
schools.
it. You're going to write a letter Friday. You're going to say that masks aren't necessary. I'm going to come in and say, no, they are on Sunday. Thank you. Then you got Zucker like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's been the whipping boy here through this whole process, right?
I think so, yeah. And I would imagine, listen, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Zucker doesn't say, hey, we're going to do something Friday, we're going to announce this, right?
I can't imagine he did that on his own.
Right. He gets instruction, approval, everything, and probably direction on what he can and can't say from Cuomo. He didn't do this on his own.
Do you know the blame was being put on the media yesterday afternoon? Not sure what you're doing in there, Angelo, but that didn't sound too good to my ears.
No,
that's called feedback.
What?
I fixed it.
I'm glad that
I couldn't hear anything.
I'm glad your first day as an
you were
intern.
unable to hear. So
you got to get headphones.
Do you
man.
have headphones?
I do, but where the hell do you plug them in back here? Is there anywhere to plug them in?
Yeah,
Can you go
right by your hand?
Yeah.
So
now this is Andrew's. Andrew has a new Zucker in the other room, so he's like, "Oh, great! Now I gotta go in there and show Angelo what to do."
I didn't tell you to blow everyone's eardrums this morning. You were supposed to wait until Monday.
Yeah, I did.
Let's listen. Let's listen.
I didn't realize that this was actually hooked up to the. I apologize.
It's all right. Don't let it happen again.
Ever! Don't let it happen again! Tom Cruise has entered the building. Let's see. The Yankees had a rough weekend. The Mets had a rough start to the weekend, but salvaged all of that, right?
Yeah, DeGrom and Stroman pitched well Saturday, Sunday, and the Mets were able to salvage a split of the 4-game series. The Yankees, meanwhile, got swept by the Red Sox, and they continue to fall further. I think they're 6.5 games out now.
I can only tell you about these Mets games this past week. We're starting at 10. The starting time on Friday,
because they were in San Diego.
10:15 was first pitch.
Yeah.
I tried to watch Friday night, and then, of course, they lost Friday night, so... Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Logan Paul won a full, unexciting 8 rounds.
Did that
last
happen
night?
this weekend?
That was last night.
On a Sunday?
Mayweather pretty much dominated, but didn't have to work too hard. The crowd was unhappy that there was no knockout. Here's audio.
I wanted to get the people on the show, and he was fighting to survive. Every time he punched, he'd clinch. He was the bigger guy. His background is wrestling, if I'm not mistaken, so he was good at tying me up. And I really believe that he was, just going a distance, that was a win for him, so he was happy. Because at the end of the day, I'm going into the Hall of Fame for boxing. And I have nothing to prove.
It's the State of the Union address.
When I was competing, I had a great career. If they're happy with holding 8 rounds, dancing and grappling for 8 rounds, congratulations.
I love how he played no role in that.
I know.
It's like, and by
You
the way,
can engage and attack.
I just found out after the fight, he's a wrestler. He
I had no idea.
Well, of course he was hanging on to me. This is terrible. I can't believe he hung on all this. 8 rounds of hanging on to me.
It would have been more exciting
And
if
I'm
you put
going to
those,
the Hall of Fame. I mean, I can't believe this.
If you put those sock'em boppers from the 90s, sock'em boppers.
Rock'em sock'em.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Just punch him, right?
Yeah.
If you're so bored with this, some punches.
This is this is an example of where we are today. He is a Hall of Fame boxer. In his prime, went 50-0.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's up to 52 now because he's fought in the MMA guy. I can't think of his name. And now this one. Who's Logan Paul? Logan Paul's a guy who was on the internet.
He's a
Yeah.
YouTube star, and he's
no pro boxing
I
background.
know.
Nothing. And you know how many millions of dollars he's going to make for this fight? Are you kidding
well, and
me?
he's done MMA and stuff too.
I think there was an agreement in place that nobody gets hurt. All right, boys, nobody gets hurt here. And Mayweather even said it. I was here to put on a show.
I'm going into the Hall of Fame. I can't
Yeah.
get beat up.
It's possible there was. I think there was an agreement in place for Tyson and who was the guy he fought?
Yeah.
Not Floyd. Roy Jones Jr. Because I did feel like they were not throwing haymakers at the face, you
Right.
know. And this is something Floyd Mayweather had said, boy, maybe over a decade ago when he was in the middle of his prime, was that basically I'm out here to make a career, make a living, not to get brain damaged for $4 million or whatever it is. So there is a longevity to this game, and you don't want to destroy yourself in the ring because then you've destroyed yourself. But it's
Well, how are
come on.
you?
It's just a joke.
I mean,
Logan Paul.
the joke's on the fan. Then.
Would you
paying and watching this and
when will you learn?
But would you ever go into? That's what I'm saying. Would you ever go into watching that thinking you were going to get an exciting, classic Floyd Mayweather fight? It's the
I
same
guess
thing.
not, right.
They're billing it as
Yeah.
something that's unusual, a boxer versus a wrestler. I mean, what do you expect?
that was it was definitely unusual. I
And
guess.
a wrestler at what level?
and on a
A high
Sunday,
school wrestler?
and on a Sunday night. I
Maybe
think that's
he's got a contract with McMahon.
I don't know. And that is a bizarre thing to do, a
on
pay-per-view
a Sunday night.
sporting event on a Sunday night. That's not WWE, but I mean, how far off was this?
There was a story out there that a researcher found carcinogens in sunscreen, in a number of brands of sunscreen.
Yeah.
And have you heard this?
I know a couple of years ago, now this is a new study, but I know a couple of years ago, some study came out and they ranked the effectiveness of all these different sunscreen brands in the generic, dollar store. You never heard of the brand before. It was actually more effective than a lot of the name brands were.
Can you imagine that it's actually the sunscreen giving you skin cancer, and not the actual sun?
They're saying that they found a carcinogen in 78 sunscreens and after sun products, which could cause blood cancer. And Andrew, you're right. You're putting on the sunscreen to prevent skin cancer. But a scientist, chemistry professor, came out to say this is deceiving. Pay no attention to this. That they feel the data is wrong in terms of what was released in the study, and that you should still. Apparently, the chemical is called benzene, which is a very volatile compound that evaporates quickly. So when you put it on your skin, most of it will evaporate before it has a chance of being absorbed, is what they're saying. That even though that exists, the threat of skin cancer is far greater than any concerns over this, is what they're saying.
Okay.
But that's 78 brands, so it's like they all have it.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this is information that is true, but it has gone it's hit the media. People are panicking, and they shouldn't be panicking. I don't know. Take it for what
That's
it is.
never happened before.
Aren't we at the point that I do understand the irony of this is something to protect you from cancer, and by the way, it has a cancer-causing agent in it.
But what doesn't have a cancer-causing
Exactly.
agent?
Angelo, I have a task for you, and Angelo has come on as he goes to school for entertainment purposes, like every other college student in America. By the way, I have a challenge for you, and to get this comedian on the air. His name is Jake Adams. Can you jot that down?
Okay.
And you'll find him. He's a professional comedian, and he is also a golf enthusiast. And he is now.
And he's going to be fighting Floyd Mayweather on pay-per-view.
That's right.
Tuesday afternoon.
I thought we'd get the interview before. So, what makes him kind of interesting is he had, on a whim, decided, I'm going to do a video online and see if you can find the video and where I'm going to hit a golf ball and I'm going to tee off in every state in America. And he started doing it. He was going all over. He had people involved. In some cases, state troopers were involved. They were watching on as he'd hit a, I don't know, in Maine, hit over a ball over a giant lobster tank, or depending on what each state was known for. And it all was going well until he went to Wyoming and decided to hit a ball tee off in the Yellowstone Park. And now they're going after him for desecrating a federal preserve. Like, they're going after him. And he could spend time in jail and get a $5,000 fine. He's had to hire an attorney and the whole 9 yards. I mean, by the way,